back, friends. We are back. And of course, somebody has to start licking my face and get all wiggly when we come back. Again, welcome back to the Together for Good marathon for Doctors Without Borders, or aka Medicine Sans Frontières, MSF. Now, first off, thank you so much for those wonderful donations that I've seen come in this whole time. We have a $5 hype train going on with people like All-Star 3339, Cassie-Bun 33, Crimson Falconer, Zoe Potato, Caroline, OG Happy Dude, all of you, fantastic. Thank you so much for your charitable donations. And remember, with those $5 donations, you will get a Golden Heart chat badge for doing good with Together for Good. But for right now, I am going to hand us over because we are ready to go for Horizon, actually for the first time on the GDQ platform, Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC, not story mode, ultra hard mode with Bdud5. So Bdud, take it away.
Hello everyone, I'm Bdud5. We got Horizon here today. Doing it on ultra hard. Gonna be so much fun. Gotta thank Jaywind really for that.
Really gotta thank Jaywind, yeah. Thank you, buddy.
But yeah, we got Forbidden West here, the DLC, which released a little bit earlier this year. It's gonna be about an hour long. We've got a lot of good routing and combat in here. And we're gonna be like explaining our loadouts and everything like that. Greedy, do you want to give a quick introduction before we explain more?
Yeah, I'm Greedy Old Ka. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see Forbidden West here on GDQ for the first time. So we're running ultra hard today, not story. So what you're going to see is definitely some more RNG in the combat. Generally, what we rely on in this run is some critical hits, which is a very fleeting thing sometimes, regardless of the stats that may influence it. But, you know, we're happy to show you this beautiful next-gen game and, you know, talk about all the nuances that go into this run. But, yeah, welcome to the Forbidden West.
So,
all right.
When you're ready to start? Give us a
Yes, we're ready to start. So before we actually can start, though, there is a few things that we have to do to help us on this first combat section. So there's actually a thing that you can do where if you're at low health, you do like extra damage, almost double. So I'm going to do that right as I talk to Silence, and that's going to give me some extra damage on this first fight.
And throughout the runs on ultra hard, we'll be low health, so you'll see kind of a red hue around the end of, or the outside of the corners there. Nice little vignette. And what this does is adds about 80% damage to our attacks when we're under 50% health. And it's something we do on ultra hard because machines have a much more health. And so what Bdud's doing here is just skipping through some dialogue, and then we'll get into a cutscene right here. And so once we skip the cutscene, that's the start of the run.
Yes, so
we can
gonna start the cutscene right here. Okay, and now we can start the time in 3, 2, 1, go.
Aloy, good luck.
Thank you. I'm going to be activating this Valor Surge, which was added in Forbidden West. That wasn't originally in Zero Dawn here. That gives us the ability to chain damage to other machines.
Not bad.
So I kind of like was able to kill one of the burrowers. Those two burrowers at the same time. It's really cool. One of my favorite abilities in this game.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to take like a really heavy hit and then transfer a good amount of that. And what the chain burst does actually, if something is really close, it'll hit it a second time as well for like 50% damage. So it's really nice to get like not only, you know, if you hit a really heavy hit, you can get half of that added on top of it too. So
Oh, here she is.
really useful in ultra
I just
hard.
need to attach this component I picked up. Hold tight.
So we got a lot of stuff ahead in this run. This is our companion that you'll see throughout most of this run, Seika.
That'll do.
We have to kind of handhold her through this run, make sure she doesn't get lost.
Just a little bit, yeah. Feka likes to slow us down a little bit sometimes,
no.
but that's
another
that's
one.
just the downside to having a companion in a speedrun.
Whoa. Like I said.
But generally,
there's no
so
getting
there's a little bit of a
Starlight
ride
Rise so
here
long as that tower's there.
on the skiff, as we call it. So we'll see
Okay.
this
Casting
tower
off.
coming up where we're going to be headed here as part of the
Sure
run.
be throwing.
You see the glowing bit
I've
up
had a
there.
lot of time to improve
But
her
essentially, this is a really good time to
How
kind of
long
go
have
over
your people been
some
here?
of the things we'll be using.
About a year, I
So
think?
our loadout, we have
this massive
different
storm
weapons
crossing
to
the Great
use
Ocean.
to kind of
Lost
inflict
a
status
fleet,
impacts and things like
berries.
that. So you'll see us freezing enemies, using focus shots with our sharp shot bow, which is like a really heavy hitter.
I'm sorry
And
to
we
hear
use
that.
stamina
Just how many of you
abilities
left?
to do more damage.
Not as many
You'll
as
see
there
us
should
use
be.
Valor
We've
Surges,
had
which are like
other
special
troubles
abilities
since
that
the shipwreck.
either, like you saw,
And
chain
some of those
together
remaining
things
aren't much
or
help.
add critical hits or whatever
Sounds like
else.
you're not thrilled to go back.
So you'll also,
Bring back
one of the
now,
things we
Landers.
mentioned
Certainly
were the
going
low
to
health
complicate
strats. So that's part of our outfit, actually. So we get these additional boosts
If you say so.
for being low health. We can get additional attack power, additional defense, and we actually build our Valor Surge, which is the purple bar you see there on your screen next on the bottom right.
Lifting name.
So some of these things are, very much needed for the run. Our outfits also carry coils that give us additional boosts. One of them being like extra stealth for a very particular split in this run. So you'll see us switch outfits later on, just because the one we're wearing now is for one use and one we'll wear later is for a different one. So.
For now, I'm down and just you're right getting it. Okay. We both
All right, so we hit the main settlement in this run. We skip a little dialogue with Seika here, learning a little bit about what's going on and all of that, but we're about to head off and
But yes, if we
figure out what's going on with that tower we saw early on.
I do want to mention real fast that this is so we have like all the best loadouts that we can have right now, from like ranking up and leveling up everything from like New Game Plus. So this isn't like just like any percent that we do immediately after the main story. I've done like several playthroughs to make sure that I have everything leveled up to be as strong as possible.
Yeah. And if you've ever seen maybe perhaps like a Zero Dawn speedrun or something like that, you know that there's a lot going on to set up that file. And like we use a lot of coils that you're only able to get once as you play through. So there's several playthroughs are required in order to have an optimal loadout.
Something I want to mention real quick here. The route that I go here, I specifically get a campfire, which campfires are basically fast travel points. And in this run, we're basically going all over the Burning Shores. So getting that fast travel point, even though it's not the most direct path to this spot here, it allows us to save some time to fast travel to the central map later. We got our big new enemy of the DLC here, the Bile Gut.
A giant acidic frog, as it were. But you'll see
I
us.
forget if you mentioned it, Grady, but when you see the yellow numbers, those are the critical hits that we're getting on our sharp shot bow. It's like the MVP of the run, allowing us, like, I forget what the exact damage increase of it is, but basically it's like 3 times, double as much or 3 times as much, something like that.
Yeah.
What normal hits are.
It's really turned ultra hard runs into semi-story runs. There's a whole lot of RNG that goes into it. So with the bow we're using and the coils that we put on it to modify its statistics, there's something like 85% chance with each shot that we're going to get a critical hit. And that was a coil that was added during the DLC. So we've made great use of it for sure.
Find a way to get further up.
And some of the
85% is pretty it's pretty nice, but it's not perfect. So you'll see we're prone to have mistakes happen in the run from time to time here.
Yeah, and you'll see where it's like it'll take a lot more shots than we might expect given those kind of numbers as well. So Some of the things to point out, just the tech and things. There's a pullcaster, which is what we're using to kind of shoot ourselves up and jump off and launch off of things. There's the slide canceling movement. You'll see Aloy sliding and then kind of standing up mid-slide and sliding again. That's what we call slide cancel movement, and it's a fair bit faster than just running or rolling, which was the main movement tech in Zero Dawn. So. One of the other things here is the glider that we use, what is called the shield wing in the game. We use that to grab a quick little checkpoint there and then drop down. And what little interesting thing here is if you drop down 2 levels, the game resets you. But because we got a checkpoint, it actually resets us way up higher where we need to be so we can get up to the top of this tower a little bit faster than we expect.
Yeah, it's really nice because the DLC, like they updated the gameplay a lot to make it feel more fluid and stuff, and like the shield wing gives us a little extra height and everything now, so I can make awesome jumps like that.
Yeah, it really helps us cover distance pretty quickly and get up higher levels with less problems for sure. So we're fighting a machine here. We got to knock some heat sinks off of it. There's a very specific sequence in which they come out, but ultimately it's, waiting for these canisters to come out and hit them. It can be a little tricky because it moves around a lot for sure.
Ooh, got it.
Nice work.
Yeah, so there's like 3 weak points on it total that the game kind of like is expecting like Seika to help in the fight and distract it, but we're just too fast for that.
So here we're going to call our flying mount, which is something we use a little bit throughout the run. You'll see some barrel rolling here. Peppy would be very proud of us. But essentially what we do is collect some fast travel points here. So he's going to collect a shelter and then fast travel to the settlement here. And this shelter we'll use after a cutscene with Seika coming up. Just basically, you find us grabbing fast travel points as often as we can to save our movement throughout the rest. So there's a fair few points in this run where we're running around to grab places to travel to later, and also manipulate that skiff that we were riding earlier to be in places that we can fast travel to and save ourselves some time.
Yeah, you'll see that a lot, which is like, it's really cool in this run where we can just like spawn skiffs and like teleport really far using the skiff.
So what we saw there was Bdud fast traveled to a shelter, and him being in that position puts the skiff really close to where we need to be coming up here, where you see this little yellow diamond right over there in front of him. But essentially that saves us flying here on our mount. So yeah.
Okay, we should follow your people's trail. See if we can figure out
It's really cool. We didn't know about that when the DLC first came out, and it took like a few weeks or a month before people were really starting to notice that you could do this.
Yeah, the skiff moves around with you while you go around. It's like, oh, we have designated points, so better let them use it here. And what's really nice about this strat is that they actually show up in places you haven't been to yet, so you can fast travel to places you haven't been in yet. So, good stuff.
So in this area, this is the big famous observatory that we got to get into. And Seika, we got to basically put handholds, these pullcast positions up for Seika.
Yeah, these ballistas put basically climbing points that Seika can climb, but we can pullcast off of as well. Yeah. And we always have to be building a path for Seika to climb, so that's part of the run, to make sure she can keep up with us.
There's a tiny little shortcut there to jump on those ropes.
It's a
nice.
neat thing. Yeah.
It's like
So Bdud is the strat finder for this game, as far as I'm concerned. I hold some New Game Plus story and Ultra Hard records right now, but Bdud has found the fair majority of the strats that we use in the runs. So things like that are just like, I would never think of that. So
yeah, I'm really fond about just routing and just like glitch hunting and strat hunting.
It's a prototype.
I feel I do it a lot more than I run in general.
design made it too dangerous.
It's always good to have people who are just having fun with the game, trying to see what it can do, because it really helps out the community a lot. And everyone puts in their time. It's awesome. We have a really great speedrunning community, so you can see a fair bit of them showing up here in chat.
Well, and actually, I'll cut it and say that Horizon Speedrun did put in $100 donation earlier, so I want to give a quick shout out to them. I also wanted to give some shout outs to Psychovolpus for their $92.33 donation. It's Kato with a $1 donation, and oh geez, Undead Rin Zero with the $3.90 donation from earlier. Thank you so much, everybody, for your amazing donations. We are over $8,000 for Doctors Without Borders. And again, if you want that golden heart Twitch icon, Twitch badge, a minimum donation of $5 will get that for you. So exclamation point donate in chat, and then exclamation point mobile if you're watching on mobile, and you can find out how to donate.
I'll shoot this time. By all means.
Nice. So what you're seeing Bdud do here is set up a bunch of spike traps, the explosive javelins, basically, that will hit some machines that are coming out. And we have the opportunity, because we're waiting for some dialogue, to set all of that up. And you can see Seika shooting a few things here. Clamberjaws come out, and essentially, ooh, nice work. Got them
That
both.
was clean.
Really good. They don't always die like that, so you might have to take
it's
a shot
very
or
hard
two.
to get those spike traps in the right position.
And Seika shooting handholds quickly. Nice. You love to see it.
Yeah, so that's like one of the major RNG things, is just how fast Seika shoots the handholds in this cave.
Yep,
So it's looking pretty good for us.
it's not bad. And so here we're going to forge another path to the left. We'll put a little spot in for us to cross on, and then another path forged on the right. And you'll see us fight 3 more Clamberjaws coming up here, the machine monkeys. And again, just trying to kill them as fast as possible, but also not do anything too quick, because Seika's AI can really get kind of bugged out if you're doing things too fast, or if there's like 2 things the game is like trying to get her to do, she can tend to bug out. So there's just like little things we try to avoid, but here we're just gonna lay down a bunch of spike traps, and then whatever's left over we're gonna use sharp shot focus shots on. So big heavy hitting bow and arrow.
Watch out, more clamberjaws.
I see him.
It's my
I
turn
think,
to shoot the machine.
Okay,
Sorry.
so that's the last spawn that I was putting the spike traps at. And I don't have enough time to put up traps for this last guy, so I'm gonna do just the general strategy of freeze and sharp shot him.
And all machines have components and weak spots and things like that, but they also have armor. So you might see him use the strongest attack in the game on a frozen, very vulnerable machine and do all of like 10 damage, which is something that might infuriate you as a runner.
You think you have the perfect shot, and it's like, no, this armor piece says otherwise.
Yeah, this
Oh.
very tiny plate says no.
Oh, I hated that.
Lava-filled chasm.
All right. So we're headed up into an area where we're about to find out the, kind of the bad guys' plan a little bit. So learning a little bit about, what he plans to do and where he plans to go and what he plans to use. And one of those things is he has a very radioactive engine he wants to use in a spaceship that he's building. And we find out that this thing will basically kill everyone with radiation poisoning within 1,000 miles square. So we don't want that to happen, because, everyone who lives around there in the Forbidden West is definitely in danger. So, yeah, we're headed out to put in a code up here. We'll see and get a little bit of information, and then we'll head out to what is one of the trickier combat sequences in this entire run. So
Need a way through.
This is really fun because this whole room, you're supposed to spend like 5-10 minutes just trying to work out a puzzle. But if you already know the door code, you can put it in ahead of time. And the devs actually put in like a little funny dialogue that Abel's like, I guess I just got lucky.
if you know what it is, yeah. And we usually throw this kind of in our splits or something like that. So like for me, it's called caves, and there's 3285 in it. So it's just really kind of funny the way they address things like that in this. And it happens when you do some of the other things in the game too, like the relic ruins and stuff too. It's kind of fun.
Is that gun from the Killzone series? Is that why they have that in there?
Yes, it is.
Nice catch.
Not me with a whole bunch of Killzone and Horizon posters and stuff behind me. I'm not a fan of Gorilla at all.
Yeah, I love the Killzone Easter egg. So cool.
All right. And so one of the things we might do here is if you need to do some resource management, we can dismantle bombs and things to get inventory for crafting ammo and stuff. There's a few items, just like in Zero Dawn, where you might think, I could definitely use, carrying more of this or having access to more for crafting. So one of the things, and we got to shout out to Marin, who started doing this in story runs, breaking down bombs and stuff to get those rare crafting inventory so that we can keep going without stopping at a stash or having to buy ammo or whatever you might have to do in any percent run.
What was all that about?
Okay, so we have this very hard section here, and I'm gonna try my best not to die, although it might be likely because it's ultra hard. But this is the bird section. There's gonna be like 10 different bird machines flying around this whole section. And I'm gonna try to use the Chain Valor once again to try to deal damage to a lot of them all at once.
And so if you've ever played a Zero Dawn run or watched anyone do one, you know that birds are just the worst enemies to have to deal with. They move around a lot. It's very hard to hit them when they're in the air. They've a lot of jerky.
It's really annoying.
Yep. Generally, you have to wait for them to land for them to die as well, so that can waste time. There's just a whole lot that can go wrong. But some of the things that Bdud's doing, like with the chain burst and the freeze, you can, if you get a group of these together, if you freeze them all at once, every one of them will drop to the ground, so you can kind of get them all in a group and use that chain burst to do heavy damage with like a sharp shot bow. So there's some ways to make this work out really well, but even then, this is one of those things where you can just never know where they're going to go, how long it's going to take to kill them all. But yeah, birds are the worst. They're the absolute worst.
Yeah, these Sunwings are giving me quite the trouble right now.
Yet another game that shows that birds are in fact jerks.
Yep. Dinosaurs, man.
I have like limited number of, even if I maxed out my like pouches to give me more like stamina potions and whatnot, a total number of them, there's still a maximum, and so I can only carry like 9 at once. I reserve 1 for a cleanse potion in case the Sunwings plasma me, because that can insta kill me on ultra hard. But there has to, even like on NG Plus and with like all these like maxed out loadouts, we have to think about what items we go into, we take into the run with us. So I typically have like 8 stamina potions because every time I do like a focus shot, which is basically a more powerful, just regular bow shot, every time I do that, it takes up a little bit of stamina, and I can do roughly 3 or 4 of them before I run out, and it takes forever for them to regen, so need to use the potions. And it gets we almost pretty much run out by the end of the run, so we're kind of close.
Yeah, you might see some crafting here. So neat trick here with the fast travel. Really weird thing we can do with the boat. So we fast travel back to the settlement, and then we fast travel to a skiff, which makes the game kind of think we're still using that skiff. But part of this dialogue we're seeing now forces us to ride a skiff, typically as a passenger with Seika. But the game kind of lets us fast travel away here instead of putting us immovable on her boat. And we can get our own boat, and then you'll see Seika riding her boat right over there.
Oh, that is so cool.
So we're able to control ourselves now in a place where we'd normally just be sitting on the front of that boat, unable to do anything. And so that enabled us to call our mount, fly over and get a campfire that we can use later on in the run, which is coming up. And then, this allows us to kind of collect things as we're where we would normally be able to do nothing. When we started doing these runs, it was like a minute and 15 seconds of just sitting on the boat. So now we can use that and get a fast travel point that'll help us do more manipulation of the skiff and things later, and also to help us cancel some really long mandatory dialogue. So some really cool things came out of this thing you found, Bdud.
Yeah, it just happened to me once. It glitched out like 2 weeks after the game came out. I'm like, what? This is really funny.
I need to figure out how this works.
Well, I'd say while you're grabbing some fast travel points, I did want to mention, normally I'd say we have a $5 hype train going on, but I think we have a $5 foothold for Seika train going on. A lot of $5 donations. If I get through all these people pretty quickly, we have Youngster Caven, Animated Elf, Vuja, Call Me Foo Bear, Emerald Ally, Undead Pixels, Residente CVX donated 2 footholds for Seika. Thank you for that. Pachi also with that $5 donation, and Equationite with that $5 donation to get some footholds for Seika. But in terms of Doctors Without Borders, all those $5 donations can get things like 20 medications to prevent and treat postpartum hemorrhage, 5 rapid tests to donate HIV infection, and enough vaccines to immunize 13 children against measles. So those $5 makes such a big difference. And remember, if you want to donate, put exclamation point donate in chat, and $5 will also get you that golden Twitch badge for the chat. So all those donations go to a wonderful cause with Doctors Without Borders and MSF. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Great cause. So we're working on a very tricky split here, and I'm sure Bdud's going to focus because this can be a little weird. So one of the things on our outfit is a low-profile coil that allows us to have a little bit more stealth, and we don't want to fight these bile guts here. We'd like to just get Seika to come over here, no one to get noticed at all, and just blow up these control nodes, which seems to be working.
Yeah, that's so hard to get.
Great.
I got it first try, so
yeah.
it's really good.
And now we'll fast travel back and do another control node, which is a bit easier because the machines don't see you on this one. But that first one is really tricky. It can be really hard to get on ultra hard, as long as our mount doesn't land, which it tends to do sometimes. We'd rather it picked us up. There's a thing that went on that we missed. So you manipulate the AI of the machines by like quick saving at a campfire and then restarting from save, and that'll put them where we expect them to be, and then you can make your way to that far control node and basically use your low profile status to be like, yeah, I'm not really here, and Seika can transport over like she does, however that AI works, and she destroys the node for us. So as long as we get that first one, there's a whole bunch of time saved there. So now we're about to head in, and if you don't know the bad guy in this, the bad guys in Forbidden West are all very old people, people who left the Earth 1,000 years ago, and they are still alive. And they come back, and they're still the same crappy celebrities you might accept them to be. So this guy is convincing all of these Quen that they are going to follow him to a new planet and live out their lives as basically, to live with him, and that it's the best thing ever. He's just really not a good person. So as they head in here, we get this dialogue from him basically saying, you're going to follow me into space. Because if you finish the main game, you find out that these Zeniths stayed alive on the Sirius system in the Andromeda Galaxy, I think. And they created their own minds as an AI and left it to fester when it didn't work out for them in a computer program for 1,000 years. And you can imagine that AI became very vindictive, very angry at them. And now it is what caused Gaia, the AI that terraformed the Earth, to split up with her parts and basically have to re-wrangle them all in. It sent a code that split them all up, and now it's headed towards Earth to stop the Zeniths because it hates them. But we're going to have to deal with that in Horizon 3. Landra is trying to escape that, and that's kind of the whole point here, and he doesn't care who he kills and all that stuff as he leaves. So.
But it's Sam Witwer voicing Landra. How can you not follow him?
The Ascension. So the part we just did is basically convincing these people to come in, to let us in and see what's going on in the Ascension room. And there's a couple of different options. It's kind of cool because Gorilla gives you all these options to kind of move forward in your quests, and it's cool to like route them out and like figure out what moves fastest, what dialogue selections are best, all that kind of stuff. But there's 3 options to get forward in this, and one of them we do is scan a data point, learn some information, and then go convince them that we know the information. And then so here we're heading in and seeing the ship that he's going to use to take everyone away, and we're going to have a fight with the Quen who are following him. But essentially, we're going to see the use of smoke bombs and things like that so we can hide ourselves with our, stealth as we move through here. So it's a neat.
Something else I want to note too is that when we were taking the elevator up to this room, I was using my blast sling to knock over this cargo, and that's because there's this boss guy that spawns behind it in 3 minutes from now, 2 minutes from now. So it just gives me a quicker line of sight at him immediately, pretty much. But yeah, like Grady was saying, we're going to use the smoke bombs here to override these nodes without the enemies attacking us during it. Otherwise, we would have to kill all of them because they attack pretty frequently.
Yeah, the melee attacks in this game, the enemies can be pretty relentless. So if you don't hide yourself from them, they'll hit you while you're overriding things.
Playing this casually, this fight was annoying for me on Ultra Hard.
Oh yeah, I bet.
The first time you do it, it's hard to find out where the nodes are opening because the doors just open, when you're trying to override one. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it can be hard to find your way around and figure out what you got to do.
And just like that, you turn a corner and someone's like, "Here, I'm gonna slice you now." Oh.
Seems like they're expecting it, yep.
Right?
But what's nice about this whole section is you don't actually have to fight anyone. On story, you can blast a few people away to get them out of your way. It's nice. On Ultra Hard, it's not really worth doing that. And so Bdud just lowered his health to get that extra damage boost, and you'll see him basically fire at a boss who's going to pop in here after this next door. And then, yeah. So he cleared the way for this guy.
Oh my god, that was so good. A 2-shot.
Wow.
That was clean.
Down goes Zeph. Down
So in my
goes
peep
Zeph.
in this run, I did everything almost perfectly except the Zeph fight was terrible for me. And if you mess up or you miss and he starts shooting you a bunch and you lose your stamina, it ends up taking 10 shots.
Yeah, he can be a real pain if you don't get it right.
There.
So we're picking up a weapon here called the Spectre Gauntlet, and this is kind of the, you play the whole main game and you see the Zenith with their superior technology, and you think, oh, I really wish I had one of these weapons. So they gave it to you in the DLC, and this is something that fires either kind of a machine gun of these shards, or there's this upgrade you can get in the DLC called the Designator. And what this does is you can basically mark a component or a spot on a machine or anything and blast it with a laser, and it will do this explosive damage. And we found it really useful for in the speedruns is any fight or encounter with the Zenith. So in the main game we fight Eric, and there's several components you have to destroy to basically drop this giant machine because he's invulnerable in the fight. But also at the end of this run we'll see it used to destroy multiple components at a time when we're trying to take down Landra. It just became this thing where you get a Zenith weapon, and it happened to be very useful against Zenith encounters. So poetic in that way, I guess.
Grady, you mentioned this earlier, but I'm changing my outfit here, mostly because I need the outfit for the low profile skill for extra stealth during the control nodes before that section. But now I change it because I need an outfit with more fire and electric resistance for the final boss fight. And also because this new outfit has more stamina regen, which will help me with a certain slaughter spine later.
And for those of you who haven't seen any of the large machines in Forbidden West, they like very big dinosaurs. You know, T-Rexes, all that kind of stuff. A giant Stegosaurus. So there's some really fun fights throughout both the main game and the DLC. And one of them here is it's a split in and of its own. We fight a slaughter spine in a volcano, so it's pretty good. The volcano isn't actually a volcano. It's an amusement park, but yeah.
Okay, back to sailing.
It's really fun, definitely, to see, and the way they put all that together. There's a few puzzles and stuff in there that are really fun too.
Oh, good.
I love the Jurassic Park movies, so just seeing Pangea Park was it was just awesome.
I need your help.
So one of the things we're doing here is we're about to build an override for a new flying mount. And so there's some dialogue going on between Aloy and Beta, who we find is a clone also of Elizabeth Sobek in the main game. But this repel animation here actually cancels this dialogue, so we're able to fast travel faster. During dialogue, you can't fast travel at certain parts of the game. So we cancel that dialogue, fast travel to a campfire we just got previously to that, which gives us the ability to fast travel to this skiff. And then from this skiff, we use our mount to get another shelter fast travel point. And we'll come back here after collecting some parts underwater for this new override. And what we're going to override is called a water wing. What we're riding right now is a sun wing. And the water wing actually can go both in the air and underwater. We use it in the ultra hard run to go underwater because you have to avoid some tower missiles that we'll see later. But in story, we never have to go underwater. But here we're going to collect a couple parts underwater, and then we'll fast travel to the skiff that we were just at, and then we'll fast travel over to the shelter to build this override. And hopefully the snap moths will be good and not kill us here underwater.
Hopefully. We're getting kind of close.
I was going to say, they get very aggressive on this route. The old route didn't seem like it, but when you come from this direction, it seems like they're always in your way.
We gotta wait for Aloy to talk here to cut dialogue off once again, and then we can get the crafting
Yep.
schematics.
At every shelter, there's a workbench where you can do upgrades and things to your weapons, your pouches, your outfits, all that kind of stuff. So part of this is building this water wing upgrade, and now we'll head across this island, which this place is also a convenient place to fly to where we need to go. The old route, you used to have to fly a fair bit to get to where we're going. So one of the things you're seeing him doing is barrel rolls. This moves us about 20 meters. I don't know what the measurements are in the future, but this moves us really quickly compared to just flying. It looks kind of shoddy or like choppy, but ultimately it's a fair bit faster. Over about 400 meters, it'll save you about 20 seconds. It's crazy how fast it is over like whole speed runs. So you see us, we used to have nice like breaks in the run where you could just let the mount fly to where you were going, and then Bdud discovered that, hey, rolling is faster, we should do this.
Hold on. I'll time our dive to avoid
It wasn't. It was mostly because of the Burning Shores update.
Yep.
That allowed more fluent gameplay aspects. So the barrel rolling was much more fluent, and it actually became worth it.
Yeah, you could chain them together really cleanly. There's like 1.5 flaps basically of your wings before you can roll again. It used to be like 2 or 3, and so it was really like, oh, you could do it and then try it again, but it wouldn't move in the direction you were trying to move it as well. They made some really great movement upgrades to this game when the DLC came out, so we made some use of that.
I'd say
Normally, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you finish your thought first.
I was just gonna quickly mention that normally you aren't able to breathe underwater for very long here, but there's like the thalassophobia effect that's in like the menus if you have trouble seeing underwater, and it also helps you just breathe infinitely underwater. So we can kind of cheese that a little bit and just stay underwater longer than we're supposed to, pretty much.
Yeah, they have a fear of deep water effect. So if you get a little antsy by being underwater and about to drown and lose, there's a setting for you in accessibility now, which is great.
I swear. Okay. looking for
That's
some
But it
good.
also helps us in the run. We don't have to use our. The part of the story there is actually there's a thing that we have, a tool that helps us breathe underwater, but we give it to Seika for that part. So we need the thalassophobia to help us breathe underwater there infinitely.
As we are heading into the volcano itself, I do want to mention, as a reminder, we are thrilled to be part of Twitch's Together for Good event this week by streaming to support Doctors Without Borders. And a majority of the funds raised for Doctors Without Borders come from small donations. And I mentioned that $5 foothold for Seika train. We've still got some more footholds for Seika, thankfully. We've got a whole bunch from Solar Sun TK, Brockloey, Wupao, Soccer Namlak, Irander, let's see here, Ethereum 3, Tiny 7 Eyes 3D, Gleesy, all of you donating $5. Thank you so much for those. Exclamation point MSF will tell you about the charity Doctors Without Borders, aka Médecins Sans Frontières, and exclamation point donate will tell you how to donate.
All right. Now let's try to figure out what this key is for.
All right, so we are
Leads us back to my sister.
heading over to. Well,
How can she
I
be
missed.
so
Did we get the?
blind?
No, we're heading to get the keys here, right?
We just got.
Oh, we just got those
first
already.
keys.
All right,
Yes.
so we got the keys, and that helps us get into the armory here. So what Bdud's doing is there's two parts that we really have to do here in the park, and those have to do with getting these keys and then heading in to kind of find out what Londra's up to. So we go in, basically take out one human enemy, and then in here we have a kind of a puzzle series to do. There's some examining to do, making our way through some kind of a maze-like laboratory, and kind of figuring out what his plot is. And we find out here that he's taking DNA samples and brainwashing basically servants here. So the guy is not very nice, obviously, taking free will from people and wanting to rule over a new planet somewhere like he controls everything.
Some kind of fluid.
So what Bdud's doing here is examining and kind of figuring out what's going on. There's an order to do this here, so we examine some preservatives and then, look at some notes and things, and then look at, some samples and stuff, and like figure out that he's taking DNA samples basically. And why he's doing this is there's a chance that you can come out and pull a panel early. Coming up here, and it's a difficult trick, and you can, it helps save some time. If you don't get it, it's not a big deal. We're actually waiting here for dialogue anyway, and there's a kind of a trick to, restart from save to get back in. But through the window here, trying to grab a spot and pull it out. Did you get it? Nope, not quite.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, nice,
Might not have got up on the video feed, but we got it.
nice.
GG.
And so that allows them to just slide in here into the shaft. Bit of a tricky thing here because it's a small area with a lot of handholds, and crawling through is pretty small or pretty slow. But ultimately, like getting down there can be a bit tricky. But pulling that early saves you some time for that as well. So now we're in the main laboratory. We realize things won't power up, so now we have to find a new battery to repower up the systems here. So we're kind of making our way around to find a new one and plug it back into where we pulled this out. So there's some, very specific movement here, some more pull casting and things of areas, and making our way carrying heavy equipment. So
There's a few sections, like around here, like in the vent and whatnot, and like under a little underway thing where you can actually slide under it instead of it forcing you into a slow walk. I think I failed both of them.
to be fair, there's almost nowhere to get a running start, which is why it makes it so difficult. In main game runs, most of the vents and stuff that we slide through, there's an area to get a start on, so you can get through like half of the vent or more before you actually have to like use the movement yourself. So we carry the new battery in and reset the system, and then there'll be a little bit of waiting for some dialogue where you see how he's brainwashing people to do what he says, basically.
Forgot to pull the lever.
Oh, don't pull the lever! Pull the lever!
Reset the network.
Hey, the door just unlocked.
The bird is a fish,
I'm
everyone.
coming your way.
The apple is an orange.
What is this?
I have been using a little bit extra resources than what I usually do. So normally I don't need to get extra resources here, but it's glad that we do have extra downtime here in case something like that happens and we do need extra resources. So just dismantling more traps for resources and
like
I
we
guess
said
I
at
could
the
actually
beginning, if you're not getting crits on the big machines that you have to fight, or even the small ones on ultra hard, you're gonna use up a lot of ammunition. So it's very important to like keep those resources high when you can.
And actually, while we're doing those resources, I wanted to mention, give some love and shout outs to I'm Just Jace3 with a $5 donation, Sergio with a $25 donation, and just now Hypo Caffeinated with a $100 donation, all towards Doctors Without Borders, the MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières. And as a reminder, chat, for $5, you get a golden Twitch emote or Twitch badge that if you look in chat right now, our wonderful producer, Richard, actually has it right now. It does take a little bit of time to appear. It sounds like about 2 days or so before it does appear in the GDQ chat. But you can see firsthand what you're getting for that $5 donation on top of helping Doctors Without Borders, which is such a great cause. So again, exclamation point, donate in chat, and do what you can to help out.
I just realized Richard's name is backwards in his username. I just didn't realize that until just now.
What's actually fun, our other producer, Railcoon, I just realized not too long ago that it's nuclear backwards.
You
There's a
people
lot
are
of
so
backwards.
creative. Great stuff. Never would
Shout
have
out-
came up with it.
Shout out to our tech and producers. They are absolutely amazing, and these shows wouldn't run as smoothly as they do without them. So, chat,
For
give some
sure.
love. Definitely give some love to our producers.
So here's the slaughter spine we were talking about earlier. Another giant dinosaur. So freezing and focus shot to weak spots. It just has a ton of hit points, so it takes a long time to take it down. It's another one of those machines that uses plasma, which is kind of a sticking point in ultra hard runs. It can really make it difficult to, if you get this on you, there's a good chance you're gonna die. So,
yeah. It also has one of the best soundtracks in the game.
oh yeah, slaughter spine and the final fight here coming up are just some real bangers.
My personal favorite.
Back at the bugs. Pretty, but he does need some more.
So we
And
finished.
yeah, like
There.
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, we're heading into the final boss fight now, which it's a lengthy boss fight, but it's one of the most spectacular boss fights I've ever seen in all of video games.
Yeah, it can feel a bit like auto-scroller-ish, but also, I mean, cinematically and musically, and just like kind of the idea of doing it is, it's wild. It's really kind of a large-scale fight, and doing what you can as a human to fight a giant machine is always fun to watch. So. And so we're seeing kind of a funny skip here. It's one of the strange places in the run where we can get this really extra height with our glide. And theory is that it's because there are so many hitboxes close to us that we're basically forced upward as we glide to get this high height and land on this cable. There used to be a skip where we could use a mount and call a flying mount, but Gorilla decided to patch that. So now we found a way to get kind of a super glide with our glider, and then make our way around this area. And it actually is a fair bit faster than the old strat if you do it right. At least compared to my gold I did while preparing for commentating. So, but here we're gonna fight some clamberjaws, and there's a couple of heat sinks that we have to take out. And there's a neat little trick coming up here that Bdud will show us.
Okay. Now to deal with
Sometimes Seika is super useful. Like, she finished off that claimer job for me. Okay, awesome. So there I did like this cool bouncing bomb strats.
So he shoots a bomb
Normally you
off
have
there.
normally you have to wait for Seika to shoot that thing, but if you shoot a bouncing bomb and it'll explode it after you open it after a few seconds.
Yeah, so it's like a team effort there. You pull one out, she shoots it, and then she pulls one out and you shoot it. But if you shoot a bouncing bomb off that lantern, it'll land where you need it to and just explode and take it out. It's like saves you, 15 seconds probably if it's bad RNG for her, but depending on where she's standing. But but there's a couple of different ways you can do it as well. Like you can slap a sticky bomb on there and wait for it to explode. You do the bouncing bomb strat is really just hype strats. It's amazing to watch it fly up and bounce down. So, and then this is the Horus fight. So this visually is probably one of the best things in video games to date, fighting this gigantic Horus that you've been hearing about for 2 games. It really can be just stunning. The music really sets the tone and stuff. But ultimately, we're waiting for certain points in this battle to do actions. So what we're trying to do here, the intent is to overheat this giant machine. So he's kind of brought this thing back to life halfway. So there's still a lot of like damage to it and things, and so he's just trying to get it to work and use the printer to create more machines and stuff. You see that giant red heat sink there on the back of it, and we wait for a certain bit of dialogue in order to destroy that because we have to. He's just making his way out to water, trying to get everything cooled down so he can keep using it. But ultimately, we're just kind of waiting for the right opportunities to do things during this fight. So I think, what is it, like
Yeah, it's
2 minutes?
scripted that you can't progress until after like 2 minutes.
Yep.
So you can like deal damage to the heat sink, but it doesn't do anything. We have to wait until like Seika kind of like dives under, and then that's our Q2 to progress forward.
Fly, buddy, fly!
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'll mention we had $25 donated from Satori Earth and $5 donation from Marcelo Wolf. Thank you so much, both of you, for your awesome super charitable donations. !donate to find out how you too can help out for Doctors Without Borders. And honestly, if you're looking for a reason to support Doctors Without Borders or MSF, they're completely revolutionizing vaccination campaigns, administering a new Ebola vaccine, containing measles outbreaks by vaccinating millions of children, launching a first-of-its-kind vaccination campaign against hepatitis E. You, with your charitable donations, are what make these life-saving campaigns possible. And a simple $5 donation is all it takes. So, and donate what you can. ! Donate in chat if you're on PC, ! Mobile if you're watching from your phone. And you can find out how to donate. And $5 gets you that fancy schmancy golden heart chat badge, so check it out. And thank you, Zeno Veritas, for that $25 donation I just saw roll in.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Satori, another ZD and Forbidden West runner in the community. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. So you'll see us here. We finished the first phase, blew up that heat sink, and now Bdud showing why he needed to switch his outfit earlier with the fire and the lightning here on the leg. Can do a lot of damage to you on ultra hard, so you might not make it to the top if you don't switch, unless you take very specific routes, which can take longer if you're not prepared. So this climb is pretty tricky. I mean, there used to be a lot of problems with Aloy kind of glitching out and not getting the pull cast here at the end. What we're trying to do is open up a slot for another heatsink for us to destroy. And it's a pretty tough climb as it moves around. So.
Yeah, that's climbing up that leg is really glitchy here because it's not intended for you to climb it until the horse does like a whole 360 around. Right. So it's very easy to fall off and for the grapple point just to knock you off for no reason when you're at the top. And so I got lucky there.
Yep. And sometimes you can die like when you're falling down from opening it. So if you're not in the right spot and perhaps you get hit by a leg, you won't be able to open your glider. And you might land on the sand and die. So you'll have to do that whole section again. But yeah, like Bdud said, you're headed up to the leg and it's supposed to kind of spin around before you climb it. Like the whole machine does a 360. But we're able to get there quick enough to climb. And once we're able to get off, we wait a little bit, blow up this heat sink, and wait for him to shoot basically a giant electric shock here, where we can restart from save and start the next phase.
Now this next phase is really cool. I'll let you explain this, Greedy.
Yeah, definitely. So there's 4 legs here with heat sinks, and the game forces you to shoot one at a time typically. But we found some strats where we can get almost, like you can do all 4 of them, but you might soft lock if you get all 4. So we've taken to doing 3 and 1. to make sure it's consistent. But if you place certain explosives in certain areas where legs are bound to strike here from the Horus, we can blow up several of the heat sinks that pop out all at once. And that's by using our bombs, our weapons here where he sticks a sticky bomb, and then a Valor Surge called the Radial Blast, which is a giant electric blast that she's able to do from her spear here.
So, yeah, you're only supposed to take out one of these at a time. I got 2 of them down at one time.
Yeah, and so getting the third one is tricky. It really is. Getting any extra ones, like, it's all about timing and when you put things down. So
The strat there was to get 3 of them taken down at one time, and I only got 2.
yep. So you can see those orange spots. So we're just gonna shoot the 2 when they come out next.
If we were doing story difficulty, it is possible to take down all 4 arms at one time. It's a little tricky, and even if you do it, it has a chance to soft lock. Basically, the Horus queues up an attack after you blow up the arms for the first time, and one of them has a chance to soft lock it if they're already all blown up, and he's like, I don't know what to do. So like a 1/3 chance for the game to just soft lock.
But otherwise, it saves so much time. It's very tempting. Almost everyone will try for it, and then, if it screws you, right? But yeah, so here we're just waiting for him to stick that far right tentacle into the ground for us to hit a heat sink. And then another one will open up on the main body by the red light there. So right here, we'll hit another one.
Now I have a warrior bow, which has like burst shot, which has like a lot of arrows. I'm gonna use that technique to destroy this.
And warrior bows fire really fast. They have a high fire rate. So lots of arrows at a high speed.
Yeah, it's the only point in the run where we use it just because of that really big rate of fire.
And it tends to have a higher critical chance too. So many of those arrows will do critical damage when you hit that last bit of heat sink right there on the body. So now Aloy's swimming underwater to get into an area of the Horus where she can pry her way in. And then we'll go in and fight Landra. So getting close to the end here.
Earlier I was mentioning that there's like some vents that you can kind of like slide through. There's areas like that here too, but these vents we can also jump in. So instead of just like a slow crouch walk, we can do combinations of dodge rolls, slides, and just jumping through them to move faster.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice is that carried over from the main game and stuff too. So there's several areas through the main game run, which is more like an hour and 40 minutes, that we can do a lot of that too. So it's cool that that's kind of carried over through this whole thing. Oh, you take the left side. A little bit safer. So you can see him jumping where normally he'd be kind of crouched and slowly going through. Then rolling through also helps us avoid damage from these electric shock things. So there's iframes as you roll that you can use.
Oh, things I wish I knew when I played this.
Yeah, Aloy definitely has iframes. It's very much Souls-like in that, I guess, where if you get it in the right spot, you can just do it. So here, Bdud's using the Spectre Gauntlet, and it blows up several components at a time. So 3 on one side brings up this thing that we destroy, and then hits just one of them over here with the laser, but all 3 of them blow up. We hit another distributor here, and now there's 5 spots up here, but we're just gonna designate one.
It can be a little glitchy sometimes and not trigger like that.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
So depending on the angle and things like that, like the explosion damage in this game is very finicky. So we'll have to wait for the shield to go and then do it again, yeah. Well, it's being weird from the left.
Yeah, it's being a little weird today. So normally that should be able to take out all 5 at once.
Yeah.
But
I'll stand down the center.
why is that? It's not working for some reason right now. So we're gonna have to do the long version of this fight.
I'm actually a little confused why it didn't go, but that's all good. And so, like, in the middle, he'll shoot some energy balls and stuff at you that you have to take out, so...
The whole thing's on fire! You gotta get out!
Almost done.
Yeah, if usually after you destroy like 3 of these like cylinder things, he'll queue up some extra dialogue and you have to wait to listen to this. If we were able to get all 5 at once, then we could have skipped that entirely.
Yeah, it was weird to see that not work, actually. I've never actually had that happen.
Yeah, it's a bit rare.
But yeah, you can see him kind of conjuring up these energy balls and stuff.
This is our last fight, but after this, the run's not going to be over after we're done with this fight. We still have a little bit more after
Yeah,
this.
there's a fair bit of movement to do yet. And use of some of the fast travel points we collected earlier. Boy, he really doesn't want to let you take a shot, does he?
There we go, we got him.
Nice. All right. Yeah, so we override this, takes out Landra, and now we gotta go kind of finish the dialogue and meet up with Seika.
Silence.
So we can get on the Sunwing a little quick, like, it doesn't allow us to get on it immediately because of the dialogue, but we can actually do a trick to open our shield wing above it, and it brings up the prompt to mount it.
Yeah, there's some strange stuff in both the main game and here where during certain dialogues you can't mount your mount. And so when those happen, you can actually jump in the air and like mount them. And it lets us kind of get on early and stuff, so... But certain areas, it just like doesn't want to let you do anything.
I made an oopsie.
Oh no! Well, I guess...
We're just looking at everything the game has to offer. Or to offer.
It's done. Landra's dead.
Of course, the
It was a really
sits
good
again.
run in general up until the end here.
Yeah, the last fight and not gliding at the right spot there. So you see, like, fall damage is a thing that we have to worry about, and like the glider helps us with that coming off the flying mount. But even then, like, sometimes the glider, like if you bump into something on your way down or whatever, it can definitely like mess with you. There's certain points in the run where using the glider is really important, and if you die, you'll lose a minute, 2 minutes. So especially in main game runs, there's certain areas. So it's pretty important to know how to use it.
Well, I'll tell you, Paladin Win has been enjoying the run, even with the glider being a little bit of a butt with a $5 donation. So thank you, Paladin.
Okay, and now we've got our final stretch here, our final ride. All we have to do is get to Seika. Maybe give her a little smooch and then we're done.
Maybe a little smooch.
Maybe.
Chat, would you like Seika to get a little smooch? Yes or no in chat? Get a little bit of time.
That is time.
There it is.
Yay!
As reunite, and after that, I don't think
Jeez.
this will ever be the same with my sister
Gee.
or my people. You're not gonna.
So we stopped time at the start of the dialogue just because we like it to just be able to skip right to the options here.
And more.
Without and just like enjoy the cutscene with the town without the time being like on and stuff. But yeah.
And yeah, the chat is 100% saying yes.
No, we want the
kid.
smooches.
We want the smooches.
Smooches!
And what if I do?
Aloy really likes people who are capable, I just gotta say.
Right? and big, giant, dumb Osram oafs that get to listen to rock music for the first time.
Oh, I love that he loves Concrete Beach Party. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
I might be a big Aaron fan, also because
Yeah.
John Hopkins is an amazing voice actor. But yeah, for both of you, first off, again, GG's, that was an absolutely fantastic run.
Wonderful showcase.
Where can they find both of you, and what are you playing right
I
now?
have to do too, but
You can find me on Twitch, same username, Bdud5. I do speedruns in a lot of modern PlayStation games, a lot of Horizon, but also do some Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man.
Happens.
Greedy?
Just don't forget.
Yeah, same. Find me on Twitch at Greedy Old Ka. I play Horizon. I recently picked up Kena, Bridge of Spirits, doing all the relics runs of that. I also hold world records for God of War 2018, full game story. So, yeah, definitely come check us out. And we'd love to see you in the Horizon community. We have a supportive and very inquisitive community who's always looking for better times and stuff, and just really great people to hang out with. So come check us out.
We'll be opening up to PC, hopefully, or PC runners soon,
Oh,
hopefully.
I'm ready to get some new times on the board.
My mouse and keyboard is ready. But with that, we have, I should say, don't go anywhere, chat. We have one final run for this Together for Good marathon benefiting Doctors Without Borders, or MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières. A quick shout out for the $12.50 donation from MXHSP101 and a $5 donation from Blue Eyed Nerd. But sit tight. Get one final hydration break in, and we are coming back with, as we've affectionately been calling it in the green room, the spiritual successor to the SM64 we saw previously, going from Superman 64 to Super Mario 64, and we are doing nonstop 120 star. So sit tight, and we'll be right back to close out this marathon.